Expectations of winning the division championship, Pat, but they have really gotten off to a slow start. Any idea why?
Well, it's been the defense for Cleveland, and particularly the coordination stopping the run, but which you kind of expected. They've lost 3 of their top 4 tacklers from a year ago. Don Rogers, of course, the tragic death. Tom Cousineau was waived, and Al Gross, the safety, is out with an injury. So they've got new people playing important positions, and they don't have the coordination yet.
Like the Browns, Detroit comes in with a 1-2 record, but I don't know that their aspirations were as high at the start of the year.
Well, remember, they're in the same division as the Chicago Bears, but I talked with Darryl Rogers last night. His goal this year for this team is to win 10 games, and he's divided the season in 2 parts. The first 6 games, where we would like to be at least 3-3, but more importantly, healthy, so they can make a final push during the last part of the season.
The weather has been glorious. We have a temperature of 75 degrees and a humidity of 82%. The wind out of the southwest at 10 to 12 miles per hour, and the forecast for sunny skies. Lions won the toss. They will receive. Matt Barr getting ready to kick off. And Carl Bland and Herman Hunter are deep for the Lions here in Cleveland, Ohio. Herman Hunter near the sideline and steps out of bounds at the 2. I've been around a while, and the last time I saw that happen was in this stadium, the playoff game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Cleveland Browns. And Walt Garrison, Pat, took the kickoff and stepped right out of bounds at the 8-yard line, that same end of the field.
Well, Herman Hunter is an experienced return man, actually a very good one, but obviously a very bad judgment there. The ball was curving out of bounds. He should have realized that it was going to continue to go out of bounds and let it go.
Herman Hunter is on this team as a kick return specialist. Here comes Eric Hipple. Talk about wells from which you have to climb out. They begin at the 2-yard line. James Jones directly behind Eric Hipple. Gets the handoff, tests the middle, nothing there. Hipple is going against a Cleveland defense that has been susceptible to the run. Reggie Camp, Bob Golick, and Carl Hairston up front.
Golick, a very good nose tackle, one of the best.
And the linebackers, Chip Banks, Eddie Johnson, Anthony Griggs, and Clay Matthews. The defensive secondary for the Browns, Hanford Dixon, Frank Minifield, Chris Rockins, and Ray Ellis.
Very strong on the corner. They like to play bump and run, best other than the Raiders, perhaps.
Second down, 8. Just underway after Herman Hunter stepped out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Jones across the 5, gets as far as the 7, and is jammed up defensively. The charge led by Reggie Camp, number 96. Detroit offense with Eric Hipple at quarterback. The rookie Gary James is the other running back beside James Jones, and the wide receivers Carl Bland and Jeff Chadwick.
James Jones, the best pure fullback in the game today.
The offensive line has been a problem. Lomas Brown, Kevin Glover, Steve Mott at center, Harvey Salem, Rich Stringer, and David Lewis.
Mott the best there in that group.
And Harvey Salem is starting today, having been acquired by Houston just Wednesday.
He's only played guard his whole life, a total of 30 minutes.
From the end zone, Hipple looks deep. Man is open. Caught. First down at the 23. Jeff Chadwick. And Frank Minifield makes the tackle as Chris Rockins tried to get involved and couldn't.
Chadwick has the reputation of being a very good receiver, a possession-type receiver who can get upfield. However, this year so far, they've been disappointed with him because he's dropped so many balls. But I like Hipple showing some early confidence into him and getting a very important first down on this first drive when they were backed up.
Here comes Jeff Chadwick to the near side. First down, 10 from the 23. 24 officially. Jones for a couple.
The Detroit offense today is going to audibilize more than they have in the past. Really about 40 or 45% of the time. A lot of the burden here is going to be on Eric Hipple. They think they have a real read against the Cleveland defense, particularly those corners. If they're bump and run, head up, it's a man defense. If they're outside shade, it's a zone. So they have a pretty good feeling, and he's going to depend an awful lot on the audible.
As a quarterback, do you like that responsibility?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Particularly when you feel like you have an edge. If you know somebody's going to be in a zone, you know what kind of route you want.
Big day last week in the loss to Tampa Bay for Eric Hipple. Second down and 8 from the 26, just underway.
Here comes an audible. We try to run the ball to the fullback.
That's what he did out to the 40. It'll be third at about 4.
Simple read there for Eric Hipple. He gets in a slot set, and if he sees Chip Banks or the outside linebacker of Cleveland walk off, then he audibles to the fullback right off tackle where the linebacker had stepped away from. It's an easy audible for Hipple.
3rd and 4. Detroit last week over 50%. and they had an average of 4.1. That's just about what they've got right now. And Herman Hunter and Leonard Thompson come into the lineup offensively now for the Lions. Split backs. Herman Hunter, number 36, playing in the nickel offense for the first time. They might look for him. Across the middle? No, it is Hunter. And he's out to the 45-yard line.
It's a great call. I was talking to Paul Lanham, the receiver coach for Detroit, before the game, and he said they want to match up Herman Hunter out of the backfield against Chris Rockins, the free safety. Nickel defense, one-on-one with receivers, 36 right there on the right of the screens against a defensive safety. Now, he beats him easily inside, and this is what they want to feast on all day. Defensive backs, Vern, are not really accustomed to playing up that close to the line of scrimmage, particularly a safety like Rockins is. And Hunter is a fabulous receiver, caught 28 balls last year for Philadelphia.
Well, that makes amends for stepping out of bounds, and we'll watch that matchup throughout the day. 1st and 10 from the 45. James Jones, left guard this time. Golick is a part of the tackle with Carl Hairston, number 78. And that will leave Detroit with a 2nd down and 8. This is a Brown defense which has been terribly susceptible to the run. They gave up 257 yards the other night to Cincinnati. Many of you saw that game on Thursday night. And they are 27th in the league against the run, averaging over 196 yards per game given up. 2nd and 7. Rob Rubik comes in as an extra tight end. And it's Jones again. Just keep fighting for yardage. He's out across the 50 to the 47. And that brings up another 3rd down.
You mentioned Cleveland's defense against the rush, Vern. I think part of the problem with Cleveland has been the fact, as we look at the stats, has been the fact that a change in offensive philosophy. You know, they pounded the ball, they mashed the football, running the football on offense last year. This year, they got a new offensive coordinator, Lindy Infante, who's brought in more of the passing game. I think they're just not psychologically as tough in running and defending the run.
They have given up more yardage on the ground in successive weeks this season. And here's the test again. Flag is down, so's Jones. If the play stands, he has a 1st down across the 45. Bob Golick, number 79, made the tackle. Holding, Detroit. And obviously the Browns will elect to take the penalty. Detroit has moved from its own 2 out across midfield.
Now, Vern, again, here's the situation.
Offense, number 32, replay, 3rd down.
Gary James is the guilty party. Darrell Rogers looking on.
A passing situation where they want to match up Herman Hunter against Rockins, although when you're in over a 10-yard situation, it's difficult to try to get the ball to the back to pick up a 1st down. You like a 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 6 when you're trying to go to a back.
Well, let's see where that back comes into play this time as Hunter is back in the lineup. Those were his stats last year at Philadelphia, where he was a 12th-round draft choice and then among the legions cut by Buddy Ryan. Across the middle, James Jones. And that'll fall short of the 1st down at the midfield stripe. And the Lion offense stalls out. Mike Black will come on. James Jones catches the ball, but is 3 yards short of the 1st down.
The Cleveland defense thus far this year has only forced 6 punts. This is actually the 7th punt the defense has forced this year, which I find phenomenal. They have not played good defense.
Mike Black, the rush is coming. Gets it way up in the air. Gerald McNeil waits for it and makes the grab at the 6. Excites the crowd as he gets it out to the 18.
Boy, he set him up well, too, didn't he?
That's no man's land back there inside the 10. James Harrell, number 58, makes the tackle for the Lions, but there is a flag down back at the 41-yard line. So we'll check in with Dick Hantak again.
McNeil, you mentioned him being one of those really exciting type of players. They're waiting for a big play out of him, out of the special teams.
Personal foul. Defense, running into the kicker, number 57, 1st down.
There's a big break. Here's a look at it.
Well, Cleveland blocked a punt against Cincinnati on Thursday night over a week ago. They've got aggressive special teams. Clearly the ball was away. It's number 57, Clay Matthews, the outside linebacker. And that's going to give the offense a very good field position.
From the 44-yard line, new life for the Lions with a 1st down 10.
Boy, it's a big lift when you're a quarterback, too, when something like that happens. You come out and have the ball in their territory.
They've queued up just for a play. Now Minifield comes up to contend with Chadwick. The handoff. James Jones tries to get outside and really can't. It's strung out nicely defensively by Anthony Griggs and Frank Minifield.
The Lions really want to be able to run the football. Of course, they've looked at all the films of the Cleveland defense, and they've seen teams run the ball successfully. But what has really hurt the Lions this year offensively is the injuries in the offensive line. They don't have those big guys who are reserves who can kind of step in and just move the defense 2 or 3 yards to give James Jones some room.
Pat, this has been an impressive opening drive, though, considering the circumstances in which they started.
But it was really the penalty they gave him the field position.
Right. Second down, 8 from the 42. No score, 8:25 to go, first quarter. Jones again to the 41. Funny, Eric Hipple said last night he probably, Jones that is, will not figure in the passing game much today, but we will give him the football.
We mentioned Harvey Salem, number 73, arrived Wednesday, was traded from Houston for a second-round draft pick. He is naturally a tackle, but with all the injuries in the offensive line to the guard positions for the Detroit Lions, they have him playing guard today. Again, it shows you how tough it has been for this offensive line and Eric Hipple.
3rd and 7 Detroit. Harvey Salem comes up. Herman Hunter and Leonard Thompson come into the game. Thompson is wide to the right. Hunter and Jones are the running backs. And the other 2 wide receivers are top of your screen. 3rd and 7. Hipple with time. Herman Hunter on Chris Rockins.
Boy, that was a nice catch. A one-handed grab. He looks like he's a little bit short. But you're going to see this is exactly what they're trying to do is match up Hunter against Rockins. They're going to see this in all the 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 6. He was the only receiver last year, backfield receiver, who averaged over 14 yards a catch. It looked like he actually pushed off there to me. But then it was a spectacular catch and a good throw by Hipple, keeping it away from the defender. Now it brings up a 4th and 1. This is where the Cleveland defense really has failed in short yardage defense. Now, Marty Schottenheimer, the coach, spent an awful lot of time on short yardage defense of this past week.
They were terrible on Thursday night against Cincinnati in short yardage. Now it's 4th and 1. Quick count. Jones should have it. Depends on the spot. Now the Browns are all saying no. There's the placement. It's a right foot spot. I don't know.
The Browns sure are confident, but none of them are wearing striped jerseys.
Well, as a matter of fact, some of the Detroit Lion defensive unit, I thought he had gotten a little farther than that.
Yeah. Well, this also emphasizes the problem in the offensive line for the Lions. You should be able to convert a 3rd and 1 and a 4th and 1 probably 75 to 80% of the time, Vernon, particularly against a Cleveland team that has not defended the short yardage situation well. So it just underscores the problem they've had in the offensive line.
Well, the defensive unit has given up. They're starting on the field before the stretch of the chain. And here is the stretch. Oh, boy. Wow. Cleveland ball.
Well, Schottenheimer has to be happy with his first test on his short yardage defense, though.
Timeout. And officially now, Dick Hancock says Cleveland ball. That close. Darryl Rogers went for it, didn't get it. The Lions give up the ball. The Browns get it back with 6:45 to go first quarter.
This is today's Chevrolet S10 Blazer.
For the fun, for the chores, for the town, or the great outdoors, it's all there for you.
Weekends, work, or just plain cruising, Chevy S10 Blazer can do it all with versatility, style, and a touch of fun. No wonder it's America's favorite sport utility vehicle.
Now the big one. Get 2.9% financing or up to $750 cash rebates on most new 86 Chevy trucks.
When you start something good, everyone wants a piece of it. Take light beer from Miller. Now there's lots of light beers out there saying they're less filling. Heck, that was the easy part. The hard part is brewing a light beer that tastes great. That's why Light's always brewed only with the finest ingredients. To let all that great beer taste come through for guys like you and me. The taste that's made light beer for Miller America's favorite light beer.
Hey, I always thought it was an easy opening can.
An idea can happen anytime. And when you work for Hewlett-Packard, you don't just sell business computing systems, you solve problems. So when you have an idea, you do something about it. You never stop asking, what if?
You know that electronic mail project for the bank? What if we used HP Message?
We are back in Cleveland's Municipal Stadium, 6:45 to go first quarter, and the Browns touching the football on offense for the first time. There's the defensive line against which Bernie Kosar will work. Ferguson Williams and William Gay up front. The linebackers are Jimmy Williams, James Harrell, Vernon Maxwell, and Mike Cofer.
Good group of linebackers led by Jimmy Williams.
And the defensive secondary for the Lions, Bruce McMorton. Dwayne Galloway gets a start today in place of Bobby Watkins, Devon Mitchell, the rookie, and Demetrius Johnson.
And Kosar wants to work on Galloway.
See if he does. First down and 10, Bernie Kosar with the 1,000-yard tandem in the backfield for the first time in 2 weeks. Kevin Mack, Ernest Biner in the eye. Ernest Biner, and not much there. Vernon Maxwell, number 57, made the tackle. We'll check the offensive lineup now for the Cleveland Browns. They have Kosar, the second-year quarterback, in the cockpit. Biner and Mack in the backfield, and Reggie Langhorne and Webster Slaughter are the wide receivers. Ricky Bolden, Farron, Babb, Dan Fike, Cody Risen, and Ozzie Newsome.
Mike Babb, the best of that bunch, and what a story he is. We're going to develop that later.
Had a little accident here.
A big accident.
Yeah, it wasn't little at all. Second down and 9. No score in the game, first quarter. Kosar looks left, drills it left. Caught by Webster Slaughter. And he's out of bounds just short of the first down near the 43-yard line.
You're beginning to see some of the maturity of Bernie Kosar. Remember, he still is a very young man, 22 years old, really should still be a senior in college, but he read that one beautifully, and that is his strength, being able to read defenses even though he is young. Strong safety blitz, he audibilized, came away from the blitz for an easy pass.
Defensive changes now as the Lions go into their short yardage defensive unit. Third down and 2 from the 43. No score in the game, 6:03 to go, first quarter. Kosar hit, lobs it out, caught. Kevin Mack, a little fake to the inside, and he is all the way down to the 36-yard line of Detroit. Good job by Bernie Kosar.
Yes, and almost beautifully timed by Jimmy Williams, the linebacker, 59, right in the middle of your screen. He gets off just a pinch late. He gets nabbed by the back, but Kosar, who's not known to be nimble of foot, but he's a tremendous competitor, just got away enough where he can lob the ball open to a wide-open Kevin Mack. And Cleveland believes they can spring Mack on a couple of different short yardage plays this afternoon.
Mack sat out the last 2 games with an injury after playing against Chicago in the season opener. Now he lines up as the fullback, and Ernest Biner is the deep back in the eye. First and 10 after that 21-yard gain. Biner hit from behind and dropped by Vernon Maxwell, number 57. Mike Babb is out of the University of Texas, one of the better centers in the league. He was in a boat here on Thursday afternoon and had an accident and had to have 50 stitches taken in his face, was knocked unconscious. He's not going to win any Rock Hudson profile contest.
But, you know, true to form for an offensive lineman, he did not miss one snap at practice on Friday. That's another reason I wasn't an offensive lineman.
Second down, 11. Kosar, off balance throw, right side, and he went at Dwayne Galloway as an option, and then a little fight breaks out, and a flag flies.
It's a lot easier to push guys when you're in your home stadium.
Isn't that the truth?
When you're on the road, you don't do that as much. But you see some of the difference in the offensive philosophy of Cleveland here on this first drive. On first down, they tried to run Biner, got nothing. Came up with a second and long. Now, a year ago, they were gaining 4 and 5 and 6 yards running Biner and Mack on first down. Came up with a lot of second and shorts. But this year, Lindy Infante is the new offensive coordinator, wants to bring back the pass. So they're going to face a lot more second and longs.
Marty Schottenheimer
Number 44,
now.
down counts, third down.
The down counts. It's a dead ball foul. It's against Ernest Biner. And even though it was easier to make the shove in his home stadium, he paid a pretty big price for it, all the way back to the 50.
Silly foul. A lot of little things, too, that can really end up costing you a football game. Silly penalties like that is one of those things.
Just a matter of concentration. It'll be 3rd and 24 from the 49. No score, 5:13 to go first quarter. Gosar hands it off, and Biner is tripped up behind the line by William Gay, number 79. Now, you know him pretty well, Pat. That may be the kind of thing that ignites him to a decent day.
And it's a very good point. The reputation William Gay has, that if he starts early with a big play like he just did, then he's going to be very tough all afternoon. But if he can handle them early, he doesn't play nearly as well. So you're right. We couldn't expect some big things from Gay.
And on to punt is Jeff Gossett. Pete Manley is the deep man. That's a fairly decent kick. Manley will let it go, and it goes into the end zone. It'll come back to the 20-yard line. And Gossett heads to the bench. He's not been a popular figure here in Cleveland this year. Has had his problems. 52-yard punt, but take 20 off and give the Lions the ball at their own 20.
Sometimes getting car financing turns out to be one long hassle.
What kind of car did you have in mind?
A Fiero.
Oh, an Italian car.
It's a Pontiac from General Motors.
They make Chevrolets, Oldsmobiles, Buicks, Cadillacs.
GMC trucks.
This is none of my business, but those are not Italian cars.
Make it easy on yourself. Finance your car or truck right at your GM dealer with GMAC.
You understand, we do have to know what you want to do with all these cars.
Nobody knows more about financing and leasing cars than GMAC.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Not everyone got a vacation this summer.
Great Gregory.
I need a vacation like nobody's business. I need a vacation.
This fall, you can still get great low fares to more places on the biggest bargain airline, United.
I got a vacation.
Give me another shot at it.
And I'm not just flying, I'm flying the friendly sky.
Nice soft landing.
Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil. No matter what you drive, or how you drive, or where you drive, or what conditions you drive under. With Mobil synthetic oil technology, there's no finer engine protection on Earth or anywhere else.
If you'd like to vote on the instant replay, you still have a chance to do that. If you'd like to vote yes, they should keep the instant replay in its current form. Dial 1-900-220-2711. In revised form, 220-2722. Or if you don't like it at all and want to get it out of the way, dial 1-900-220-2733. 62,000 have called in so far. And the current votes, 32% favor retention of the instant replay as it now stands. 42% want it revived, and 26% say to heck with it.
I'm with the 26%.
Oh, good. We'll get into an argument about that in a while. Terrific. Good stuff. 1st and 10. Gary James, a second-round man out of LSU, who has been criticized in Detroit for his lack of desire in turning it upfield, gets strung out that time. Bob Golick is the nose guard. His dad, Bob Sr., played 7 years in the Canadian Football League. Pat, they have a really touching ceremony that they go through before each game.
Well, players are victims of habit, I guess. Bob Golick has a little thing with his father before the game. This is about 20 minutes before kickoff. That's his father on the left, of course, met. They talk about the game. His father always tries to pump him up. Very emotional guy. But Bob stops by his dad's house on the way to the stadium, too. And on the road, he'll always call him from a public phone booth. Nice family.
2nd down and 12. Lions, no score in the game. Deep for Chadwick. Made his leap a little early. Frank Minifield was defending. It'll be 3rd and 12.
Chadwick has had some problems thus far this year dropping the ball. Last week against Tampa Bay, there were 3 or 4 catches that he really should have caught. A couple of more tough ones, but nonetheless, he should have made. It always makes it difficult on your quarterback, too, particularly when you're playing at home. You have some receivers dropping some balls. Of course, they're going to blame the quarterback.
Dave Wilson hit Eric Martin for a touchdown, and Ron Jaworski has thrown a touchdown pass. Minnesota's out on top, 2 touchdowns. And the 49ers in Miami are scoreless. 3rd down and 12. We are scoreless here in the first quarter. Hipple in trouble. Gets out of it. No in the grasp, and James Jones makes the catch short of the first down.
Eric Hipple has been under duress most of his career. You can see that he's wearing a bandage on his nose. He has a broken nose from last week. But again, the offensive line, 73 Harvey Salem pushes his man inside, a little stunned. 53 Kevin Glover should have come over and picked him up, did not get there in time. He might very well have been in the grasp here, though, Vern, I think.
Well, I know the replay has become controversial this year, but I think the in the grasp interpretation is equally as controversial. When is he and when is he not? I agree with you. I thought that would have been ruled down. McNeil back to return the punt of Mike Black. On 4th and 4 from the 26. Left side, McNeil lets it bounce and takes a lateral hop out of bounds at the 35-yard line. So the Browns get it back, and they do so at their own 37-yard line. 2:48 remaining first quarter.
Who has transformed home entertainment, bringing sight and sound together with one remote. Who? RCA, with Digital Command Component Systems. A choice of components operated by one remote that deliver a sight and sound experience you must experience. Digital Command Component Systems. If you settle for less than RCA, that's exactly what you'll get.
Who's playing? McDonald's! NFL kickoff payoff! I'm playing! He's playing! Are you playing? We're all playing!
Collect trading cards of your favorite NFL stars.
I got your card, I don't have your card yet.
Every kickoff payoff card is a winner. Win a McDonald's sandwich, fries, or Coca-Cola.
Cards must be redeemed during the following week. Oh, sorry. Hey, you want to play? NFL kickoff payoff! Great idea! Come on, let's go! At McDonald's! See you there.
Peter! Where's the package?
Your express company doesn't know. Nobody knows.
Hold it. If you'd used Federal Express, you wouldn't be having this problem. Come with me. Our customer service centers are the most sophisticated in the business. Here's all the information about your package.
Uh-huh.
So we can tell you its exact status within 30 minutes or your money back.
Uh-huh.
Next time, call Federal Express. Why fool around with anyone else?
I should have called Federal. I don't know why I didn't call Federal. Nobody knows.
When the Spartans rock, Lorenzo rolls. Lorenzo White continues on his run for the Heisman when Michigan State hosts the Hawkeyes of Iowa next Saturday on CBS Sports.
2:48 to go first quarter. Scoreless so far. The Browns have it for the second time. And we're inside of Detroit territory last time out. Michigan State, a big win yesterday over Western Michigan. Lorenzo White with 192 yards before leaving in the third quarter, and Iowa won big yesterday. You will see Iowa against Michigan State next week on CBS. 1st and 10 from the 36. Blitz is coming. What a block put on by Kevin Mack. Oh, gee whiz, from the right side. Michael Koper was somersaulted by Kevin Mack.
You can see it in the right-hand corner of your screen. Now, Kevin Mack has been injured with a sore shoulder for the last couple of weeks, but he's quite a player. Right side of the screen, Mack steps up, and he's a complete player. He can block, and he can run, and he can catch out of the backfield. He was missed the last couple of weeks.
Kozar caught a heel on the helmet that time from Koper.
But
Kevin Mack.
He sure appreciates the block, though. He would have caught a lot more otherwise.
2nd down and 10. No score, 2:43 to go, first quarter. Kozar goes to his second receiver on the right side. That's Ernest Biner. And he's down short of the first down.
You know, Vern, watching Kevin Mack make that block brings up the point why, one of the reasons why Detroit is unhappy with Gary James was last week he missed a couple of blitzes and got Hipple hurt and sacked. But here we see what a back is supposed to do. Kevin Mack stepping up and picking up the blitzing linebacker.
That'll bring up a 3rd down and 2. Chicago leads Cincinnati. McMahon scored that. Seattle with an early lead over Washington, 7-6. And Buffalo leads Kansas City, 7-0. 3 wide receivers are in. 3rd down and 2. Gosar puts it into the flat. Ernest Kleiner. He caught 10 passes last week in the loss to Cincinnati. John Bostic, number 42, makes the stop.
I'll tell you, you need a back like this in the NFL who can beat you both running the football and catching the ball on a 3rd and short situation. Now, we've seen Detroit, of course, go to the backs on 3rd down. This is just a little pass out in the flat. The linebacker got caught in the middle in all the traffic, and that's an easy 1st down.
No score in the game. 1:48 to go first quarter. And Biner coming into the game, or last week rather, 10 for 77. 1st and 10. Biner is lined up as a wide receiver now. Wide right. Kevin Mack, the only setback. Pitch out, Kevin Mack. Walker's in front, but a nice job defensively by the Lions, particularly Vernon Maxwell, number 57, and James Harrell, number 58.
Kevin Mack almost looked like he was thinking about throwing the football there.
I thought so, too. Looked for just a second like he might.
Well, they do have it in their game plan.
That'll bring up a 2nd down and 10. No gain on the last play. Detroit thus far has had the ball for 10 minutes. Cleveland for 3 minutes and 12 seconds. That was prior to this current possession.
And that's usually Cleveland's game. They've always tried to control the clock. At least last year they did.
2nd and 10. No score, first quarter. Into the flat again for Kevin Mack, who drops the ball. Oh, boy. Looked upfield.
It was a nice little screen, and it was set up pretty well. You're going to see Kevin Mack coming out of the backfield to the left of the screen. His offensive lineman get out in front, and it was pretty well done. They had a couple of guys that could have picked up a block there by Dan Fike, number 69, but no doing. Well, you need those, obviously, to keep drives alive. He's not a bad receiver, although he has not played the last couple of weeks.
3rd down and 10. Last week, the Browns against Cincinnati, 4 of 12, and they averaged 3rd 7.5. 3rd and 10 now.
Detroit was terrible on 3rd down last week.
Gosar looks straight downfield. Back across the middle. Boy, that was all arm.
That was.
No shoulder, no legs, just the right whip. And Webster Slaughter makes the catch.
But the Browns finally think they have a receiver in Webster Slaughter to complement their tight end, Ozzie Newsome. Again, Bernie Kosar's rap is he cannot move around well in the pocket. Here, he actually didn't have to, but he still stepped outside and actually got himself into some trouble. But Slaughter made a nice little play, found a dead spot in the zone, and picked up the 1st down.
So much has been made about Ozzie Newsome that the wide receivers really, Pat, for the Browns in the recent years haven't been that effective.
Well, they really haven't had any kind of speed there, and it's really put an awful lot of pressure there on the tight end, but they've got it now in Slaughter and Langhorne.
1st and 10 from the 30. No score, first quarter. Up the middle. And again, with a minimum amount of success, is Kevin Mack. Cleveland is a team that had 2,000-yard rushers last year. As a team, they have yet to rush for over 100 yards in the first 3 games. We've reached the end of one. We don't have a score.
Oh, these trivia questions are tough. Okay, Boom Boom. What did Al Capone say when surrounded by the FBI?
Heck of a...
He's right. I don't believe it. Name the English band that performed the first rock opera. Who? He's right again. Amazing. All right. What beer tastes so good it's the 2nd largest selling beer in America?
Miller Lite.
Coming right up. You won the game.
This game is easy. No question about it. There's only one light beer. Miller Lite.
Listen to the heartbeat of America. Listen to the heartbeat of America.
Listen to the heartbeat of America. Listen to the heartbeat of America. Oh, yeah.
It's the rhythm on the road. It's the pulse on the street. Pulse on the street. Chevrolet. Chevrolet.
Lindy Infante, the man right there in the hat and the headset, he's the new offensive coordinator for the Browns. He was the architect of the Cincinnati Bengals in 1981 when they went to the Super Bowl. Well, I like his offense, Vern. He spreads people out horizontally. Now, a lot of teams in the NFL try to get the ball vertically down the field like the Pittsburgh Steelers, for example. But this team really stretches the team, makes the defense defend the entire 53 yards, the width of the field, and he just tries to find little dead spots in there.
You know, Pat, he's got a terrific reputation league-wide, I think.
Well, he was offered, he was with the Jacksonville Bulls, I think it was, of the USFL. He was offered jobs by the Green Bay Packers, the San Francisco 49ers, but he chose the Cleveland Browns, wanted to work with Kosar.
2nd down and 6. Biner in a slot to the right side, now moves out wider. 2 wide receivers to the left. On 2nd and 6, no score, opening play, 2nd quarter. Kevin Mack. Popped at the 21.
And that formation, Vern, was just a real good example of what Infante is trying to do. We saw Biner line up outside and come in motion, but he's trying to spread that defense, create natural holes and gaps for not only the running game, but the passing game as well.
In the loss to Cincinnati a week ago Thursday night, the Browns were inside the 34 times, missed 2 field goals, and had a turnover. And they are inside the 30 this afternoon for the first time. Slaughter comes out. Just underway in the 2nd quarter. Vern Lundquist and Pat Hayden from Cleveland, Ohio. 3rd down and 1. Biner close.
I don't think he made it there.
I don't either. Yeah, Kosar doesn't either. Now Marty Schottenheimer has to make the decision. Do they bring on Matt Barr, who is perfect 6 of 6 this year, or do they go for the first down? Coach Hayden?
I think you have to go for it. They're a 1-2 football team. I would have gone for it. I like it. They're going to kick the field goal here, but my view is on offense, in a short yardage situation, you should be able to convert 75% of those short yardage plays.
You sound like a quarterback with a long-term contract instead of a coach with a 3-year.
That's right. I'm way up here. You're absolutely right. But I mean, you have to have, I believe, you have to have a little more belief in your offense. They have a very good offensive line. They spent a lot of time in the short yardage part of the game this past week.
Matt Barr is perfect so far.
They may be thinking about it yet.
Now they've called timeout. So maybe Bernie Kosar at the age of 22 said, I'm going to go talk to Schottenheimer. Let's think about this. Give me a chance. We'll let you know what they decide in a minute.
Tonight, Andy Griffith is the alcoholic father, but his son gets drunk, and his daughter takes pills because they're a family who've grown up under the influence.
I present the Golden Boy, Paul Hornung.
It's been a long journey for me from the frozen gridiron in Green Bay to here in Canton, Ohio, Professional Football's Hall of Fame. I'm very proud to be a part of the 1986 class of enshrinees. Ken Houston, Willie Lanier, Fran Tarkenton, and Doak Walker. You know, it was a dream come true for me to play in the National Football League. I played quarterback, fullback, halfback. I ran out of every position they gave me. And here at Pro Football's Hall of Fame, I'll be running alongside some of the great runners of all time, players like Gale Sayers and Frank Gifford. And you can be a part of that great history, too. It's all here, the teams, the stars, the records, so you can see the men and the great plays that have been a part of the game we call pro football. This is a great adventure for the whole family, taking photos, seeing the films, sharing the excitement, being part of the great history. The Pro Football Hall of Fame here in Canton, Ohio. Don't miss it.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Miller Lite. For great taste, there's only one light beer. Mobil One Synthetic Motor Oil. Mobil One protects your engine better than any conventional motor oil. And by the heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet.
We are back with 13:29 to go in the first half of play. Cleveland with a 4th down and 1. Decided to go for the field goal, and then Pat inexplicably called timeout.
Well, I thought they were going to actually debate whether they should go for it on 4th down, but there really wasn't any conversation or any debate, so I believe they wasted a timeout. And those are valuable, particularly when you're coming down to the end of the half, as was evidenced in their last game against Cincinnati at the end of the first half. They needed a timeout.
The holder is Jeff Gossett, the punter. Matt Barr, perfect 6 of 6 so far this year. And this will be a kick of 38 yards. Well, he's 7 of 7.
Matches his brother.
And a flag is down as Barr appeared to have been hit after the field goal. Michael Kofer, number 55, might have gotten there. And if so, we may see one of those curious circumstances where a coach elects to take the points off the board.
I know the adage is never take points off the board, but again, Vern.
Holding. Defense, number 76, 5 yards, first down.
Well, it was not Kofer. Barr may have thought he was going to get away with one and running into the kicker.
Nonetheless, my view is take the points off the board and put your offense back in the game. Here's the field goal attempt. Well, Barr got hit late there. Hurt his right knee. His right knee really locked up there. That is Kofor, number 55. Well, that can really, obviously, hurt a kicker. His knee locked. His left knee, though.
That could lead to hyperextension, can't it?
Absolutely.
Well, that is not what they called. They called it on Eric Williams, the nose tackle.
Well, there's a flag there that went down there, though.
So take the points off the board. Give the Browns first down. Kozar into the flat. Kevin Mack. And he is inside the 10-yard line. Demetrius Johnson, number 21, makes the stop.
Mack had that drop a little earlier in the game on the screen pass, but this time he's going to catch the ball. Again, a fine read by Bernie Kosar. He is a patient quarterback, which I like him, and you don't find patient quarterbacks much for young quarterbacks, but he didn't get the ball downfield where he wanted to. Mack made the nice catch, and it was a great block there by Ernest Biner. Did you see that, number 44, the other back?
Block on Jimmy Williams, who was coming. Now Curtis Dickey has come into the lineup. Had a good game a week ago Thursday. He wears number 33, and he comes wide to the right side. Biner the setback. Second down and 2. Biner down to about the 5-yard line. He's a young man who rushed for over 1,000 last year. His average per game so far this year is 2.1. New Orleans leading the Giants in an upset, 14-zip.
I think one of the reasons he's got that small average is because the offensive line never really has gotten in sync. Offensive linemen like to come out and run the ball, really to get into the game, to get the feel and the flow and the rhythm of a game. But when you're coming out and throwing the ball a lot, which Cleveland has done this year, you never quite feel quite into it. You don't feel the physical part of it.
First and goal on that last play by Biner, however. It's first and goal from the 5 with 12:35 to go in the half and no score. Biner and Dickey are the setbacks now. Curtis Dickey. A gain of a couple. Demetrius Johnson, number 21, made the tackle.
Curtis Dickey was a man who came to the league a number of years ago with the Colts, who high draft pick, who high expectations for him, always known as a speed back, a real thoroughbred, though had the reputation of not being able to play very well nicked up. He played extremely well against Cincinnati on the Thursday night game last week. And they're hoping for high things for him, particularly when Mack was injured.
Kevin Mack is back in now. Second down and goal officially from the 4. Brian Brennan in motion. Pitch out, Mack. Nobody to help him. Fumble into the end zone. Who got it? Cleveland got it. A fortuitous bounce. Brian Brennan. Now,
there is some discussion there by the officials.
Fumble into the end zone.
You know, Vern, it didn't really look like Kevin Mack ever had control of that ball. He was holding it with 2 hands from the moment he received it. And he never quite had complete control of it. The pitch is some fine blocking. Now, normally he should just be sprinting out to the corner of the end zone, but he's just kind of dancing there. But you see him holding the ball in 2 hands. It pops loose, falls into the end zone, and Brian Brennan, the alert wide receiver, recovers it. But the officials have now ruled it a touchdown. The kicking field is on the kicking team is on the field.
Well, the rule that might have come into play occurs on 4th down, not on 2nd down and goal. So Matt Barr is on to kick the extra point. Brian Brennan gets the touchdown. He looked like a statue suddenly come to life, standing there, posed and poised, and boom. Well, there's some delay here. I wonder if the replay officials might be looking at something. They are not looking at the replay. Darryl Rogers is talking about the fumble into the end zone. I'm sure that's what it is.
You're right. You can't advance a fumble on 4th down was the rule that you were referring to earlier. That was not 4th down, so it could be recovered by Brian Brennan. Kevin Mack, I thought he was going to sprint to the corner of the end zone, but he slowed up. But you see he's holding the ball there with 2 hands, which is a little bit unusual. Looking inside, I think he was looking for the cutback. The ball pops out of his hands, and Brian Brennan, I don't know who was supposed to be guarding Brian Brennan, but he looked pretty open too, didn't he?
Matt Barr out of Jeff Gossett's hold on to try and make it 7-0. 11:41 to go in the first half, and we have our first score of the game. Perfect. So the Browns take 3 off the boards, get 7 on the board. Touchdown Cleveland. They lead by 7.
Today's small cars are tougher than ever on oil. Their high-compression engines not only rev high, they can run hotter than regular small car engines. Their searing heat can begin to break down an oil immediately. That's why there's Castrol, the only leading motor oil that in every grade provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol before your engine does something to get you heated up. Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars.
You finally get the answer, and now you can't wait to tell someone. Here at Hewlett-Packard, we never stop thinking about how our business computing equipment can be used to solve your company's problems. It's the Hewlett-Packard way of doing things. We're always asking, what if?
I've got it. They need easy access to their database, right? What if we use the personal productivity?
Since I hung up my size 19 sneakers, Dave and I always get together for a few Miller Lights.
And argue about who was the greatest player.
You were the greatest.
No, Bob, you were.
At least we agree Lights' taste is the greatest.
Yep, Lights also less filling. And you can't afford to get filled up when you're the great Bob Lanier.
Come on, Dave. You won the MVP and the championship. Those were the 2 biggest feats in basketball.
No, Bob. Those were the 2 biggest feats in basketball.
For the biggest taste, there's only one light beer, Miller Lite.
Magnum, television's favorite private eye, returns for his exciting season premiere in a special 2-hour episode, Wednesday on CBS.
Browns take the lead 7-0, and they do so on that fumble recovery by Brian Brennan in the end zone. If you'd like to vote on this instant replay discussion that CBS is having today, you can vote to retain the instant replay rule in its current form by dialing that number 220-2711. Yes, in a revised form, dial the middle number. If you don't like it, vote no. It'll cost you 50 cents per call. And they'll update you with the results at halftime, I'm sure. Carl Bland with a kickoff. Takes a big hit at the 21-yard line. Tackle made by Johnny Davis. Just to restate the discussion that took place after the fumble recovery by Brian Brennan, you cannot recover a fumble for a score on 4th down or in the final 2 minutes of either half. So that's what Darryl Rogers was asking about. It was a legitimate play. 1st down and 10. Eric Hipple brings his team back on. Has had a good start today, Pat.
But you can't depend too much on Eric Hipple because of the offensive line. I think what they're going to have to do if they're going to have a chance here today is to be able to run James Jones effectively inside. If they don't, there's going to be too much pressure on Hipple.
They'll test it right now. And it is not effective. James Jones gets the carry. That is his 10th carry for 24 yards. How about this? Morton Anderson has added a 27-yard field goal, and the New Orleans Saints are leading the Giants in Giant Stadium.
New Orleans had a real good draft and some talented people.
Jim Mora may get his second win today. Buffalo leads Kansas City by 4. Second down and 8. 7-0 Cleveland leads. We're just under 11 minutes first half. Hipple wants it deep and has a man open. Boy, that was a pretty pass.
And it was a very nice audible there by Eric Hipple.
Jeff Chadwick makes the catch, and Hanford Dixon makes the tackle.
He talked about how Hipple was going to audibilize an awful lot today. What he saw was a double zone. The free safeties have the deep part of the field. And one of the routes the Detroit Lions like against that is where Jeff Chadwick fakes inside and breaks out in a little corner area. Chadwick made a nice catch, although he did bobble it there, but a good throw and a good audible by Hipple.
Hipple now 6 of 7 for 75 yards, 21 on the last play. First down at the 44-yard line. Lions trail 7-0. Both teams trying to go 2-2 for the early season. Looks left all the way, lobs it out a little behind James Jones. If he gets into the open field, watch your feathers. That's a gain of 9.
You know, James Jones really is a throwback into the old NFL days. You know, the football in the old days, the fullback position was the glory position. You had Jim Taylor and Jim Brown, Murray Motley, and those kinds of people. But they've gotten away from that. You got the sleek guys, the Eric Dickerson types. But James Jones is John Madden's type of guy. You know, an old-fashioned football player, a fullback from the Detroit Lions.
Well, he's playing football in an old-fashioned place, isn't he?
That's
no
exactly
cheerleaders, grass, a stadium built in 1931.
Got some dirt out there.
You bet. Grumble around in that stuff. This is a throwback. Second down and 1. That's Gary James, who is caught short. And let's watch the play of the nose tackle, Bob Golick.
The unusual thing about Golick, watch how far he lines up away from the center. He lines up further from the center than, see the 2 or 3 yard gap there, than any nose tackle in the league. And he likes to do that because he says centers are so quick that he likes to be able to back off them so he can have momentum when he charges into them. Now, Steve Mott got the better of Golick on that play.
Carl Bland just limped off the field for the Lions. Gary James unsuccessful on the last play, and there's Bland. It's 3rd and 1. Jones, I don't know. Close. They were short on a 4th down play in the first quarter. Now Harvey Salem, number 73, the newest of the Lions, indicated he thought they got it.
It's amazing how many officials there are on the field after a short yardage play. You know, guys are pointing one way and other guys are pointing the other way. But Cleveland, obviously, even if Detroit did make a first down, is playing better short yardage defense. Staudenheimer actually broke down every short yardage play and why they were unsuccessful against the Cincinnati Bengals and defending the Bengals on that Thursday night game, and actually brought out all of last year's short yardage defensive plays to show why they were successful last year.
I think it worked. They've
Absolutely.
Played very well today. Here's the stretch. Carl Bland, by the way, has a turf toe injury. Here is the stretch.
Wait a minute, how can you have turf toe on grass?
That is, it occurred last week. I was going to explain
All right.
because I realized I dug myself a big of a hole. How about this?
There he's sticking down to the dime in there. What?
Need a piece of paper. They're going, oh, how can he tell?
How many sheets of paper was that?
First down, Lions. It's now become a game of smidgens.
No doubt in Dale Rogers' mind.
Oh, absolutely. First down, Lions.
Made it easily.
So Detroit has the ball at the 46-yard line. They trail 7-0. Minnesota jumping all over Green Bay today. About to go 3-1.
Another audible by Hipple.
Drills it. Pete Manley. That's a good gain of 9 yards. Howard Hanford Dixon makes the tackle, number 29. Pete Manley's wife is back in Detroit, hospitalized this morning, expecting a child. May get a phone call in the middle of the game. Kind of tough, Pat, to concentrate on what's at hand here when that's in the offing, isn't it?
Well, it happened to me 4 times, so I didn't do a job.
You had a lot more experience in that than I did.
Well, I got so injured so often with the Rams, I spent a lot of time at home. That explains the 4 kids for me.
Second down and 2. Sidney doesn't tell it that way. Jones, big hole. and he pops it through to the 29-yard line.
So much of this game is the subtle parts of the game, the intelligent parts of the game. Eric Hipple did a wonderful job here. Again, a second audible in a row. He audibleized to James Jones because there was a soft spot in the defense because Chip Banks, the linebacker, had stepped out of the defense to cover a receiver. A great audible by Hipple. He hit the right hole at the right time.
That's a Lion first down at the 29. 6:45 to go first half. Jones with 34 yards in the game. And the Lions moving effectively now. They've come from their own 22-yard line.
Third audible in a row here by Hipple.
Looks to his right, fires into the flat. Gary James down to the 20-yard line. Well, you mentioned James Jones as a throwback, an old-fashioned football player. That category would also fit for Eric Hipple, I would think.
Well, you know, he came into our meeting last night with a bandage on his nose. He broke his nose last week against Tampa. Darryl Rogers said last night he was hit more last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers than most of our backs were. He was hit 11 times after he threw the ball and did break his nose. You see the bandage right there.
He is 9 of 10 for 101 yards. 2nd and 1. James Jones, good block. That's good for a first down. Sam Clancy, number 91, made the tackle.
One of the reasons James Jones is such an effective fullback is he can run inside with power, but then also get outside, not necessarily for a 40 or 50-yard gain, but he'll set them up running inside and then come back out outside. Now, the Lions had set that outside play up. It was the same formation where they had run Jones inside time after time again. It was a nice change of pace, getting the ball to him outside.
Detroit was 3 of 5 scoring inside the 30 last week and lost to Tampa Bay, but they also turned it over twice. And they have the ball now at the 17-yard line. Hipple on a roll across the middle. He's 10 of 11 now, and that pass is caught by Jeff Chadwick at the 14-yard line.
They had Gary James, his back, number 32, out of the backfield, one-on-one with the linebacker, Chip Banks.
I would imagine Hipple will hear about that.
Well, you've never met a receiver that's been covered. Every time you come back into the huddle, every receiver is wide open. And you look
who was the biggest talker that you played with?
Willie Miller and Billy Waddy. Actually, both are wide receivers who are always open. Somehow, I never managed to get him the ball.
2nd and 6. 4.5 to go first half. 7-0 Cleveland leads. 4-man rush. Hipple flushed out of the pocket. Pulls up. Nice move. Stretches for the first down. He's close. He and Anthony Greggs were involved in a foot race.
Many of the successful quarterbacks in the league are the ones who can move around a little bit. We've seen Hipple actually audibilize well, use his head so far in this drive. Now he's going to use his feet. But he pulled the old high school move. You fake, you hope the guy's going to jump up. But Anthony Greggs didn't jump up and made the tackle on Hipple.
That, nevertheless, is good for a first down and goal from the 7. Detroit's deepest penetration. Hipple's first run of the day.
In the dirt part of the field, though, here, Vern, this is where receivers oftentimes like to set up a defensive back so he has to cut in the dirt and fall down.
Let's see if that happens. Play fake. Into the flat. Gary James. Knocked out of bounds inside the 5, near the 3.5-yard line by Anthony Greggs, the linebacker.
Take a good look at Gary James. If this Detroit offense is going to come around and be effective this year, and Darryl Rogers thinks they're going to be a very good offensive team within 2 or 3 weeks, then Gary James is going to have to be featured on the outside part of the game. He's got to be able to run the ball effectively outside and catch the ball on the perimeter of the defense as he did right there.
He's been something of a disappointment, hasn't he?
They have. Well, they didn't feel that he was practicing when he should have been. He was just kind of taking it easy. He was in Darryl Rogers' doghouse for a while, and some of the players got on him this past week, and he had a good week of practice.
2nd and goal from the 3. Play fake. Into the flat. Down low. Gary James caught. Loses a yard. Anthony Greggs again.
Obviously, what they're trying to do here down by the goal line is just match up James against Greggs, but Greggs has really been equal to the task down here. Didn't really get lost in the traffic. Had the ball been thrown out in front of James a little bit more, he probably could have caught it in full stride and tried to dive into the corner of the end zone, but the ball was a little bit behind him.
As you watch, keep in mind now, there's Anthony Greggs, that Chris Dietrich and Keith Dorney are both on injured reserve, and that the 2 guards Harvey Salem, Kevin Glover have not played that much in the middle. I would expect Hipple to go upstairs again. Yep. Right side. Oh, good play. Leonard Thompson makes the catch. And Hipple really drilled it.
You are not going to see a play timed much better than that. That ball was thrown right as Thompson had stopped, so when Thompson turned around, the ball was right there. It looks like a fake of a fade move. You see so many quarterbacks throw the ball over the top. Well, Thompson faked that move and came right back. The ball was on the numbers in the end zone for the touchdown. I like the timing of that pass. Good play.
The pass goes to the 12-year veteran, Leonard Thompson, and for Eric Hipple, his first touchdown pass of the season. It comes in game 4, and Eddie Murray is on to try and tie it up. He has done so. That's a 79-yard drive in 14 plays. We've got 3 minutes and 19 seconds remaining in the first half, and all of a sudden we're notched at 7. Expectations of winning the division championship, Pat, but they have really gotten off to a slow start. Any idea why?
Well, it's been the defense for Cleveland, and particularly the coordination stopping the run, but which you kind of expected. They've lost 3 of their top 4 tacklers from a year ago. Don Rogers, of course, the tragic death. Tom Cousineau was way.
3:19 remaining in the first half. Leonard Thompson gets his first touchdown toss of the year, and Eric Hipple throws his first of the year. That ties us up at 7-7. This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Cleveland Browns, the National Football League, or Leonard Thompson is prohibited. First touchdown passing this year.
That's amazing when you consider they're in the 4th game of the year.
Eddie Murray kicks it deep. They want to get it to McNeil, and they do. Gerald McNeil, 5'7", 143 pounds. Brings back to mind Supernet, Nolan Smith of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Marty Schottenheimer thinks at some point in this season he is going to return a kickoff back for the touchdown or the punt return. He's an exciting player. He's a backup wide receiver as well. Kozar likes him deep, too. You know, the Detroit scoring drive, I was really impressed. I credit that to Eric Hipple. Made some tremendous audibles, got his team picked up a couple of big 3rd down conversions, and then a beautifully timed pass to Thompson.
First down and 10, Cleveland. 3:10 to go in the half. Curtis Dickey in the lineup for Kevin Mack. Whoops, whistles, flags. May have been some motion in the interior line. Dick Hantak will let us know.
Left guard.
False start. Offense. Number 74. Still first down.
That is Paul Farron, 4th-year man from Boston University.
Good offensive line the Cleveland Browns have. Big guys. Getting better. That man's getting better, too. Bernie Kosar.
Hard to believe he's only 22. Boy, he hurried home yesterday, I'll promise, to watch the Miami-Oklahoma football game. Said he had talked with Vinny Testaverde earlier this week. Dickey in motion. And try the right side this time. That'll be Cody Risen out of Texas A&M. And it will be 1st and 20.
Now that can't be happening. It really should have been. And Risen is blaming himself. He just forgot the snap count. And most quarterbacks have different signals.
Still first down.
We talked to Eric Hipple about that, but if you don't know the line call, the snap count, a lineman will say, what's the snap count? And his partner usually will say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which is the key for 1, 2, or 3, or something to that effect. Each some count or some code that they have. But that's 2 in a row.
And they haven't gotten to Thursday.
That's on 4, yeah.
Irvin Fontenot comes into the lineup, number 28 for Cleveland, running back. 1st and 20. Kosar tipped. He went for Ozzie Newsome, the tight end. Ozzie, playing with a shoulder injury and an ankle injury, has a streak of 101 consecutive games in which he has caught a pass.
Ozzie really is one of the fine tight ends in the league. Kind of a funny stance as he tries to explode off the line, but you see the little swim move on his right arm? And he's very good at just finding a dead spot here. However, had he come back to the football a little bit there, I think he might have been able to make a catch. James Harrell, number 58 for the Lions, defending.
3-time Pro Bowler. Went out in the second half against Cincinnati last Thursday night. Said the ankle really bothers him. The shoulder's not so bad today. 2nd down and 20. Newsome Incomplete. They go to him twice, trying to extend the string.
And Harold does a nice job again of defending. I think one of the tight end is one of the most unique positions in football. It's one of my favorite positions because you have to be the kind of guy who can get downfield, be a receiver, and get over the middle, but you also have to be physical and tough enough to come down and block on defensive ends and linebackers. Ozzie Newsome is one of the more successful ones.
Ozzie out of Alabama has caught 101 consecutive passes in games. Harold Carmichael with 127, and Steve Largent this afternoon may tie that. He's playing down in Washington. And Gray, Abramowitz, and Alfred Jenkins next in line. Gozar into the flat. Ernest Biner still on his feet, but will be caught 12 yards short of the first down.
The fans are booing because it was 3rd and forever and they dumped it off to the back, but you're going to get an interesting situation here. The Cleveland backs do a nice job of faking like they're going to go out of bounds, and then the defense kind of rests, and then they cut back in, particularly Ernest Biner. Now watch, he cuts right back in. He does this as well as anybody in the league, getting a couple, 2, 3, 4 more yards out of it than he ordinarily would.
Jeff Gossett on the punt. That is a dandy. Way up in the air. Pete Manley caught and dropped at the 20-yard line. D.D. Hoggard, number 48, was the first one down there. Eric Hipple is on a hot streak. He's hit 13 of 14 for 111. His team has 2:14 to go in the half.
I was one of the toughest drill instructors in the U.S. Marine Corps. I marched my men through mud, snow, and rain. And after I turned those cream puffs into Marines, I treated myself to the best beer in the U.S. of A. Miller Lite. Life's less filling. And this taste makes me proud to be an American. As for you guys out there who spent 10 of the toughest weeks of your lives with me, I got one thing to say. How come you don't write?
We're proud to say there's only one light beer, Miller Lite.
Let's face it, I have a big appetite for life, and I don't want anyone telling me how to live it. The world is my oyster. That's why I carry MasterCard. It opens up all the possibilities and puts me in the driver's seat. Imagine all of life's possibilities with the great one at the wheel.
No cazzo.
Thank you. MasterCard. Oh, sweet it is. MasterCard. Master the possibilities.
2:14 to go in the half. The Lions have the ball at their own 21-yard line. Hipple has been brilliant here in the first half. You can forget the debut he had 5 years ago on a Monday night against the Chicago Bears. Came off the bench, got his first start, rather, and hit 4 touchdowns in that game. Also scored 2 on the ground. Threw for over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns passing. There have been few more spectacular debuts ever since. But really, Pat, his career since that moment 5 years ago has been erratic.
Well, he has struggled some, but I don't think he's ever had the full confidence of his coaching staff, and it's very difficult to play the quarterback position like that. My years in L.A. were much like that, always looking over your shoulder. They drafted Chuck Long in the first round last year, so at some point he will be replaced, but he's an incredibly tough guy. He really is. He hangs in there, he picks himself up, and he's a tremendous competitor.
Despite throwing for over 300 yards last week and 31 completions, he was booed in that game. Pat and I asked him last night how he handled the booing. He said, all I do is go back to my locker and put another picture of my home in California up. Look at it and fantasize. James Jones for a couple.
But I do give Hipple some credit. When I was with the Rams, they brought every quarterback in the history of the game, Otto, Graham, Sidlock, and they brought them all back to compete with me. And Hipple has had much the same kind of career with Detroit.
I wondered what happened to your career. Oh, Unitas got you, huh? There's a 2-minute warning.
An idea doesn't conform to a 9-to-5 schedule. So at Hewlett-Packard, we're always thinking. Because even though we sell business computing systems, what we really do is solve problems. We never stop asking, what if?
Jim? Mike, I've got an idea on that branch office network. What if we connect all the PCs?
Introducing Wendy's new Big Classic hamburger.
This is the good stuff.
The soft Kaiser bun, the fat tomatoes,
This is the good stuff.
the fresh toppings, the beef.
This is the good stuff.
Wendy's new Big Classic.
One bite, one taste, one look, you'll see. This is the one the other burgers wanna be. This is the good stuff.
Wendy's new Big Classic.
Can't get enough. This is the good stuff.
When you're behind the wheel in LeBaron GTS, it's nice to know GTS excelled in handling in a U.S. Auto Club test, did 0 to 50 in 5.63 seconds, triumphed in braking, and gave BMW and Mercedes something they never expected, a driving lesson. GTS comes sensibly priced with Chrysler's protection plan. You don't drive LeBaron GTS the way USAC did, but it's nice to know you could. Chrysler, driving to be the best.
7-7 ball game. Lions have a second down and 7 from their own 24-yard line. Coming up at halftime, we'll have Brent Musburger, Herb Cross, and Will McDonough with scores and highlights, and a feature story on William Andrews, a very touching story of a man who's come back. That story put together by Ann Butler, and an update on the instant replay poll. More than 91,000 of you have called in so far to register your vote on yes, you want to keep the replay as it is, yes, you like it but want it revised, or no, get rid of it. And Brent will update you on the results at halftime. Second down and 7. 7-7 ball game, and the Lions have all 3 timeouts left. Gary James scoots through for a first down out to the 34-yard line.
Well, Gary James, he was in the doghouse, but he's going to get himself out of it, or work his way out of it, because he's played very well here in the first half. Caught a couple of balls, got outside once or twice, and made a nice little inside run there.
Well, the criticism has been that he's a bench-to-bench runner. He runs from Cleveland side to Detroit side and hasn't cut it upfield.
Well, part of that is he's had a stomach muscle pull, and that's a tough one. It's really tough to plant and get yourself upfield when you've got that muscle pull in the stomach.
A couple of upsets, and the 49ers. Marino has been intercepted 3 times in that game, by the way. And Minnesota all over Green Bay, 28-0.
Or San Francisco intercepted the Berg 7 times, too.
Yes. Hipple uses 1 of the 3. Didn't want to. Called timeout. Or no, it's a delay of game call. He didn't call timeout.
That should never happen. You should never have a delay of game call.
Offense.
Particularly in the last 2 minutes of the ball
Second
game.
down.
Or a half.
Darrell Rogers getting some explanation of it, and he's not satisfied with the explanation, I can tell. So that cost them 5. It'll be 1st and 15 with 1:14 to go in the half. You came up with an interesting stat about Eddie Murray that we might put in the back of our minds in case he gets a field goal attempt.
He has 11 career field goals over 50 yards, which I really find remarkable.
So once they're down near the 35-yard line, if they get that far, keep Murray in the back of your mind. 1:14 to go. That was not a charged timeout, of course, because of the delay of game. Hipple, good protection. 1 hopper. And Eric Hipple is not pleased with the results of that.
Well, you know, sometimes that'll happen to a quarterback. He'll try to throw the ball 2 different plays. I think he was trying to throw the ball downfield to a wide receiver. Then the coverage kind of converged on that receiver. In the middle of the throw, he tried to get it out to Gary James.
There's Eddie Murray. 11 field goals in excess of 50 yards in his career.
He is a fine, fine kicker, believe me. Paul Lanham, again, the receiver coach, who is also a special teams coach, thinks he's one of the best.
2nd and 15, 7-7 game. They hand it off to Gary James and probably will use one of the timeouts now. Nope, no indication yet. Now they do.
2nd and 12 call, again, when you're faced with a bad 2nd and 12 in a nickel situation. We saw them earlier trying to get the ball to Herman Hunter. Would have been a perfect situation to try to get the ball to him, maybe 5 or 6 yards, give yourself a 3rd and 4 or 5, and then have a play. Now they're in 3rd and 13.
And they've got 1 minute to go in the first half. Chicago jumping on Cincinnati 21-7 in the second quarter. And Seattle still leads Washington. That's the game in which Steve Largent is trying to tie Harold Carmichael's record. Buffalo over Kansas City 7-3. And Houston with an early lead over Pittsburgh, 3-0 in the second quarter.
Houston's a much improved team, I think, especially defensively.
And Pittsburgh is not.
They've had their problems. Isn't that amazing, all the championships they won, how things turn?
Well, they are really in a down cycle now. Marty Schottenheimer.
Well, Schottenheimer has had an interesting career. You know, in 1974, he was a player coach of in the World Football League, and then he was with the Giants, and then he came here in '80 to be the defensive coordinator.
Marty had an anonymous career as a player. He told a story. His first game as head coach here, I worked the game with Terry Bradshaw. We were talking with him on Saturday, and Marty looked at Terry and said, you know, I spent 6 weeks with you in the Steeler camp. You remember that? And Bradshaw looked right at Marty Schottenheimer and said, no, Marty, I don't remember you at all.
6 weeks, it's not a long career.
Third down and 13. 7-7 game. Double coverage. Almost picked off. Felix Wright, number 22, in front of Carl Bland, who's back in the lineup.
A dangerous pass, a little bit late over the middle with 2 minutes left in the ball game, but they were faced with a 3rd and 13, so Hipp was trying to get the ball downfield enough to pick up the first down. Led the ball a little bit too far inside. Otherwise, Bland might have had a chance, but Felix Wright, number 22, just played center field, read the quarterback, and reacted to the ball.
That brings on a punting situation, and Mike Black is back to kick for the 16. Gerald McNeil waits for it.
You got time! You got time!
You heard somebody yell, you've got time. He's heading in the wrong direction. Now he's not. And he's finally back to about the point at which he made the catch. Rob Rubik makes the tackle. 36-yard punt, 5 on the return.
You know, one of the great things about football is there are places for all sizes of players in this league. He is only 5'7", 146 pounds, but then you've got 300-pounders out there. You've got average-sized guys. So I think it's one of the few games where you can have all sorts of different sizes and shapes of people play and be successful.
He had a terrific career at Baylor University. Coming up at halftime, Brent Irvin will with all the scores and highlights. We've got 42 seconds to go first half. Ball on the 38. First down, 7-7 ball game. Cleveland and Detroit playing here for the first time since 1970. Right side, Reggie Langhorne makes his first catch of the day and is out of bounds at the 47-yard line.
Kosar's really one of the bright young quarterbacks. One of the things you like about him, in spite of his limitations about not moving around, is he is very smart, always seems to be able to throw the ball to the right receiver, and in a 2-minute drill, tests a quarterback's decision-making more than just about any part of the game.
Well, let's see how he handles this now with 37 seconds to go. 91 yards on 6 of 9.
Got 2 timeouts, plenty of time to get themselves in shape for field goal.
And a 2nd and 1. Not much of a rush. Catch is made by Clarence Weathers, his first catch of the year. Now, will they give him forward progress? I think they're going to, and if so, it's a first down, yes. That is the first catch of 1986 for Clarence Weathers. And they go without a huddle with 17 seconds to go. Into the flat for Biner. I don't think the crowd's going to like that call at all. 10 seconds left. But I looked downfield, Pat, and there was nobody open down around the 30.
Well, there was a prevent defense, obviously, by Detroit. And still, with 10 seconds left and a timeout, they have a chance to get the ball downfield, call a timeout, and at least attempt a field goal.
Matt Barr is not the longest field goal kicker.
His longest this year, I think, is 45 yards.
Said they feel comfortable from 47 on in. Lets it go, man. Is open, and it's dropped. Langhorne would have had time to make the catch and call timeout. And 2 seconds remain.
Actually, I think he would have caught the ball, and the clock would have run out unless he could have scored. It was actually, Kosar had to get rid of this ball quickly and then call the timeout. But it's a deep drop, which really surprises me. But he does a nice job of stepping up into the pocket. Langhorne, a receiver they're high on, I think he's just so concerned about either getting out of bounds or having his clock stop, and he took his eye off the ball.
Let me tell you something that you may have known I didn't. A receiver, if he makes the catch in that circumstance, can holler at the official, I'm down, and call time. He doesn't have to be tackled.
You think he would have remembered that?
No, not a chance. Third down. Final play. Here's Big Ben. Webster Slaughter. Almost caught. Oh, was that close? It wasn't, though. That's the end of the first half with our score, Detroit 7 and Cleveland 7.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Chrysler Plymouth. We're working together to be the best. STP, makers of STP oil treatment. We've got what it takes to perform. And by Hewlett-Packard, the people who turn your business computing problem into a business computing solution.